Okay, hello S.T.A.L.K.E.R s. This is Ian, tag name Rust-Iron Crow, and today we're going to be looking at S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Shadow of Chernobyl, the Lost Alpha mod. This is 1.4, version 1.4002, and the developer's cut. The Lost Alpha DC is a wonderful mod for S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl, and right now we are on a particular mission. It's a side mission that's given by Sidorovich in the cordon to steal the box from the army outpost. Now this is an army outpost that is in the southern edge of the cordon, presumably as a checkpoint to make sure that nobody's getting into the cordon itself. And there's a box there that Sidorovich is very interested in. Now, the mission itself is fairly cut and dried, but it seems so insurmountably buggy that well, it's almost frustrating. It's almost immersion breaking there how troublesome this mission is. And I tried to complete it, and I saw that there was some issues with it, so I looked online and I couldn't find anything in any forums or anything where I could see other people have had this problem. They're really frustrated with the mission because it seems to have an error, a scripting error, most likely that sort of makes it seemingly impossible to finish successfully. And nobody seemed to have any real solutions to it, so I'm going to go ahead and try to provide some video documentation that will help assist people that want to do this the right way, or at least in the spirit of the game. And so I won't be using any gamma hacks. There's no cheats, obviously. It's just as it is with default settings in the stock mod developer's cut. And we're going to try to analyze the problems with this mission, and then how to go ahead and successfully complete it. Now, if any time during this I have to pause it or reload a saved point because of some ridiculous error in it, forgive me, but I'm going to try to do it in one run because that's just more enjoyable and it's just more S.T.A.L.K.E.R-like. Okay, so here we go. And it begins here. Anybody who's got this mission, you get the mission from Sidorovich. It is just a side mission. However, I think it's very important, and because Sidorovich trusted us with this mission so greatly, we're going to be doing it to establish our reputation and also be able to get a little more information out of Sid to allow us to get deeper into the zone. Maybe something about this S.T.A.L.K.E.R character that we're supposed to be finding. Because we're going to do it with integrity, and we're going to do it with the mission objective in mind and firmly implanted. We're good S.T.A.L.K.E.R s. We're going to do it without gamma hacks here, or any other ridiculous god modes or anything like that. We're going to do it the right way. He trusts us. We got to this point here. I've moved to the edge of the compound, just outside the perimeter fence here. So on our cordon map, you can see that this is where we are. I've come along the edge of the map, and our destination is here, the briefcase with the documents, which is inside of a barracks, presumably guarded. I believe there's about a dozen soldiers in this area here, plus there's a minefield just north of the... sorry, my game is hiccuping there. There's a minefield just north of the perimeter fence here, so you can't. This whole area is off limits. Now, the mission seems cut and dried enough. It is here: steal the box from the army outpost. First prerequisite is to wait until night. Don't fool yourself. Night does not just mean when it is dark. I've tried this mission at 9 o'clock p.m. local time. It's 2100 hours. Sun's going down. It is too early. The mission will be aborted. The mission will be aborted by Sidorovich with a pop-up message saying you were supposed to wait until night, or something equally rude. Gotcha. I tried it again at 2300 local time. That's 11 o'clock p.m. And also, I got a message from S.T.A.L.K.E.R. It's dark as pitch outside. I'm following the fence. I'm getting out here the secretest way possible. And I get a message. So I tried it after midnight. So after 0000 and set out, it took me about... you can see the local time here is 0056, so it took me about 45 minutes to get out here, and now I'm ready to go, and it seems to be okay. So I think that wait until night means wait till after midnight. There you go, hint number 1. Hint number 2, you can't turn on your flashlight. If you do, you'll get a message from S.T.A.L.K.E.R. saying that you're compromising the mission. And if you get those more than a couple times, you're going to compromise the mission. He's just going to blow it and pull out. I'm supposed to walk along this fence here, which you can barely see to my left. This is their barbed wire perimeter fence. However, it's not a good idea because there's a gravitational concentrate in the gap in the fence. Actually, it's probably creating the gap in the fence. Right in the way. You don't want to walk through that. So, instead of even trying to hazard that, just go to the very edge of the fence, on the eastern edge, and lo and behold, they seem to have forgotten to wire it down or mine this aperture. So, there we go. We just slip around the fence and we're on the inside of the compound. This is where the problems start picking up, because you can easily get these messages from S.T.A.L.K.E.R. that are saying you're doing the mission wrong. That's the problem. Anybody who's tried this mission a few times can see you just get this message going, you've deviated from the path or something, and here's what you're supposed to do, you idiot. You're doing it wrong. Now 3 or 4 seconds later, task will be failed, the military will be alerted, you'll start getting fired at, etc., etc., etc. So if things weren't bad enough as it were, it's pitch black, you can't use any weapons, because if you pull out a firearm, then you're going to alert the patrols to your presence, just from the noise of slipping a pistol out of your holster, something like that. So you have nothing to use except for your knife and maybe some bolts to determine the locations of anomalies. But you also are set up for failure, because who the hell knows how S.T.A.L.K.E.R. wants you to get in here. So, just to demonstrate for people who aren't aware, I'm just skirting around this gravitational concentrate here, because I don't feel like getting caught in it. I'm moving back to the fence. There's a big gap here of about 3 meters across the fence here, and that's where you're supposed to go through it. You don't want to do that, so just get caught in a grabby. Now I'm following the fence again. The fence is brushing up against my right shoulder. The barbed wire is tearing into my leather jacket. And I'm moving, and I'm moving, and... pop up. Right. Marked one. You got away from the root. You can get spotted. Go along the fence, then get to the barrack windows. Do it quickly without any noise. Yeah. Looking around very carefully. Did anybody see me? There's a helicopter up above. I don't think it sees me. I don't think anybody saw me. Now, this is very important. I can't stress this enough. When you get that message, do not stop. Don't stop and read it 3 times. Don't go into your inventory. Do not stop. When you get that message, you'll have about 3 or 4 seconds. And if you haven't done anything to change your route, the mission will abort. They'll give you another pop-up message really quick, then all of a sudden the military is alerted, and S.T.A.L.K.E.R. pulls out, and he'll say, well, sorry, you fucked up. You're on your own. And you will be. You'll be on your own. And I think that you can still complete the mission. Like, you can still sneak in and get the box from the Army Outpost, and you can still bring it back to S.T.A.L.K.E.R. and you can still get a reward for it, I think. However, for the sake of being a professional S.T.A.L.K.E.R., you don't want it to be a failed mission. You want to do it right. You want to do it right the first time, which means you don't want to be alerted. You don't want to alert. Whoa! See, there he goes again. There's a freaking message. And this was from moving away from the fence. So, when you get that message, once again, immediately back up. Backtrack to wherever you were before getting that message, and wait for that message to fade out. You'll find that there are areas that you can go. There are certain sort of invisible pathways that if you go that direction, you will not get the message. If you deviate from that direction, you will get that message. So if you get that message once again, immediately back up. You've only got a few seconds. Immediately back up exactly to where you came from, until that message fades out, and then choose a different direction. Deviate your path slightly until you get some idea of where you're at. I like to imagine this whole area as a grid, and so I'm thinking in grid coordinates. You know, I'm moving basically due north, due east, due south, due west, whatever may be. So, there's trick number one. If you get that message, don't dither, don't hesitate. Find out how you got the message, back up, go a different direction, try again. Now I'm backing up on the fence some. I don't want to back up into that gravitational anomaly, so I'm going to move away from the fence slightly. I hope I'm going the right direction here. It's, once again, I can't see a bloody thing. So I'm walking backwards. Now I'm walking backwards, I'm moving away from the fence slightly. I trust my backwards walking skill. And I'm still too close to that gravity, I think, so I'm going to turn around and move back up the hill slightly, still following the fence. Now it's on my left. I'm on the other side of that aperture there. Okay, so now I know that this area is safe. Be very patient with your stealth. You're a professional stalker. Okay? There's more to you than you understand right now. Be calm, be patient, and know that you only have one life. Do the best you can with it. So, I'm going to move away instead. I'm going to move away from the fence. We'll try this direction here. And it looks like it's better because I'm not getting that message from S.T.A.L.K.E.R. My bearing, my physical facing is still towards that barracks. My physical facing, my chest is pointing westward. So I'm actually walking sideways. Why am I doing that? Is because I've got in mind sort of a grid. I'm memorizing this grid. In case I have to backstep, I can find another path. But if you just start moving willy-nilly and you just look around and just go wherever your nose is pointing, you may lose track of where you were. And you're doing this in complete blackness. So be smart. Do it right. I'm moving sideways. I'm moving perpendicular to the fence. And I'm moving until my nose, my chest, is perpendicular to that barracks, which you can barely see the roof there, illuminated in the faint moonlight. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but when I'm watching that, I can see right now there's a tree that is interspersing itself between me and that barracks. So I just passed a tree, now I'm past it. You can see how it's obscuring the light from the tower. There you go. That tree there is important, that's a landmark. I'm using these as mental notes. So I've walked down that fence until just in front of the gravitational concentrate, and then I moved perpendicular to the fence until I passed a tree. It was the second tree, by the way, and I passed it. Now I'm going to move forward again towards the barracks. So I've moved in 90-degree angles, forward, left, forward again. I'm probably about 15-20 meters from the fence, and I'm moving directly towards the barracks in a low crouch, as slowly as I can, with no weapons out, not even a knife. I'm going to be moving diligently, but with extreme caution, and I'm moving in a straight line. My sensors are picking up 2 life forms. I know there's one guard in the tower, at least. I know there's one guard patrolling on the outside perimeter fence underneath that searchlight. I know there's one asleep in the barracks, and I suspect that there's one patrolling around the barracks on the outside or at a guard post just inside the front door to the barracks. We don't want to be seen by any of them. There's no guarantees. This is a very difficult mission. Okay, now I'm picking up 5. I'm still moving straight, and I haven't had any negative messages from S.T.A.L.K.E.R yet, so I must be going in the right direction. Moving back up the slope. I crossed a small gully that has very marshy ground. You can hear your wet footsteps, and sloping down, hit the wet footsteps, and now I'm coming back up the other side. So I'm making mental notes of the topography here in case I somehow get lost. Okay, excellent. Now get through the window and use it on your way out. Remember, don't make any noise. Very important. That means that S.T.A.L.K.E.R has sort of like gone to the next stage of the mission, which means that navigating that little backwards area there where he's like, stay close to the fence, that part has been completed. Now I got this. It's important to remember the direction that you came from exactly, though, because when you leave this barracks with the stolen box, you have to leave following exactly the path that you came in from. Don't deviate from that path. So that's why another reason why I'm using this sort of like mental grid of 90-degree angles in my mind. Okay. There's a fence here, which I don't want to make noise climbing over, so I got to find a way through it. There may be a hole somewhere. Hope so. Yes, there we go. I found a small hole in the fence, and that's the window we want to get into. Picking up 8 bodies. I'm waiting. Task failed. I was spotted. Oh. That sucked. Alright, so you see that not only is there the scripting issue of like you're trying to follow the fence, and in trying to follow that fence, Sidorovich will say, no, you didn't do it right. But if you follow the fence, he'll say, no, you didn't do it right. So what you got to do is you got to kind of probe in there and find the correct direction to get into that compound. Once you get in the compound near the barracks, you'll say, okay, you're in the clear, but you still have a dozen soldiers that are patrolling that area, which you cannot engage with any of. So once you get in there, no matter how well you're hidden, it's pitch black. I think the guy's got night vision, right? But it doesn't matter. It's pitch black, you're at a low crouch, you're hiding inside of bushes, you're in a marshy area, and it doesn't matter. The guy's within a few meters of you, and he finds you, and he will shoot you, and you're gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to try that again. I'm going to follow the same path really quickly with very little to do and see if it works, okay? I call it the sneak tutorial, which is clever. And we're going to see what happens. I'm just going to go really fast at that point. But the thing is that once you get there, keep your ears wide open. And if you hear any footsteps, yeah, get inside that window as quickly as you can, and you'll have like 1 or 2 chances to just climb up this damaged gutter. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna go ahead and follow that pathway that I had mapped out before without much description. There I'm passing the first tree directly in front of me by about 3 meters, 4 meters. I'm still walking perpendicular to the fence. Now I'm going to get up to that front. You want to go as quickly as you can, is the thing. There are wandering patrols, but if you're quick, there's a second tree right in front of me. Now I'm going to start moving directly towards that barracks. Getting to a low crouch at this point here. If you see any trees in the way, kind of curve around. I recommend curving around the south side of that trees. So far so good. You can see I followed the same path, and I should be getting that message from Sidorovich right about now. Now, the only chance we have to get through this window, we're going to do it quickly. It's a tricky jump. There we go, and we're in. Okay, now you want to go as quickly as you can, but stay crouched. There we have it. Now, Smart S.T.A.L.K.E.R makes a quick save here. Now, if anything happens, guys, I'm going to warn you right now. I'm going to pull up that quick save because it's a tutorial. And I already messed up once, so on my way out I am going to be a little opportunistic and take some bandages. Now, there is a military guy asleep right here on the bed. We're not going to wake him up. We're still in a low crouch. Climb right out that window. Remember to follow exactly the same route getting out of here as you did getting in. Right through that window, straight down, and straight across. Cutting through some bush. Should be a fence up here. I believe there's a hole in the fence right there. Now we're going straight across. I'm heading in east-east by northeast direction. That barracks is directly behind me, and I'm heading straight towards the cliffs on the edge of the map. Going down into the marshy area. Stay focused. Keep it cool. Now you are not out of the weeds until you're back at Sidorovic's bunker. When I get to the other side of this incline here coming out of the marsh, I'm going to do a quick save again. If you get that message from Sidorovic, remember, immediately back up, backtrack a few meters, and choose a slightly different direction, different bearing. Like that, you got away from the route, you can get spotted. I'm choosing a different bearing. I'm backing up until that message fades out. Right? Now I'm back in the ditch. I'm going to go ahead and change my bearing a little more eastward. I see a tree there. You see how I used those trees as navigation before? When I came in, the tree was on my right, so as I go out, the tree is going to be on my left. Trust your memory and keep your cool. You're a stalker. This is what you do. I'm going to go ahead and quick save it right here. Still at a low crouch, by the way. Take your time. Steady as she goes. I'm moving all the way to the edge, as far away from that compound as possible. Now I can hear, using surround sound, the audio that indicates that that gravitational concentrate anomaly is now, I've passed it. You know, if you have that invisible grid, I've passed it. If I go perpendicular now to my to that fence, I should end up on the east side of that gravy. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm moving towards the fence now. So I believe I'm more or less within a few meters, following exactly the same track as I did coming in. Very slow, very cautiously, and I can see here this fence post on my right is the edge of the fence. I'm going to go around that. I'm going to move into a slightly higher crouch, and I'm following the edge of this this rocky bluff here to my right. There is a minefield to my left, and so I'm going to start climbing up these rocks. I'm still in a crouch. I'm in a slightly higher crouch. I'm not in the lowest crouch. I'm trying to make some haste. Local time now 1:19, which means that whole mission has taken me approximately 45-50 minutes game time. I'm moving up this rocky face here to get nearly to the top. I want to get up to near where the fences are. There's the edge of that perimeter fence up here. Don't go too close to that hole there. There are anomalies on the other side. Just because it's edge of map, it is not harmless. I just want to get to this fence until I am well clear of the military compound. I'm going to remain in a crouch until I'm clear of it too. Look back though and wave our sayonaras. I think we're still dangerously close to it. There is minefield almost directly beneath us. I think that the tripwire perimeters are the tripwire stakes are nearly beneath us, or we've just passed them, and I'm still just moving slightly faster. I'm going to continue to do that until you can see in the overhead the overhead map there on the upper left corner, the arrow that's pointing to the destination, which is Sidorovic's bunker. I'm going to wait until that arrow is pointing once again perpendicular to me, so I'm still thinking on sort of a grid level, and this is just safety first, that's all, because I want to get very well clear. You can still have your mission aborted at this point, I believe. If you get up and start running, thinking that everything is good, okay, I'm standing up now, getting up and running, thinking everything is good, if a military spots you at all, Sidorovich will just call you up and say, sorry, mission's aborted, you failed, you are a lousy stalker, I'm going to report you, whatever, you know, I'm going to shame you. How does he do that? I don't know. Even if you have the box with you. So anyways, now I'm standing up, and now I'm going to start moving in a jog. We're going to move back towards Sidorovich's bunker. I'm doing it in complete darkness. I'm not even turning my flashlight on yet. I'm navigating purely by instinct through very high grass. When I cross the road and I get the first scent of other stalkers in the area, I'll turn my flashlight on, and there we go. Okay. Now my flashlight's running really low on batteries, by the way, and so I'm not getting very good light out of it. Please forgive me on that. As a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and change the batteries on that right now. Now look at that. Oh, so bright, so good. Alright. So now we're coming into the area where there is a S.T.A.L.K.E.R camp and Sidorovich's bunker. Asleep and dreaming. Talking in their sleep. And here we go. Make a little more haste here. Beautiful, beautiful cordon village. Not quite as scenic as the original vanilla game. I personally like the vanilla village a little bit better. This one has more of like this sort of underground feeling. There's several fallout shelters and stone buildings rather than wooden ones. And we're back at Sid's bunker now. Music is very nice.
S.T.A.L.K.E.R.
And then there we have it. We'll turn in this mission. That was quite dangerous. Here's the case. Really heavy, he says. Oh, and so he's great about it, and he's getting goosebumps just by looking at it and whatnot. So he's got some interesting data, which is going to send us to the Agroprom Research Institute, which is one of the most dangerous missions in the early game. And everything up to the Agroprom Institute was basically kindergarten. So he's going to go ahead and send us into the zone, into some more dangerous interiors to meet with other stalkers. What's the next move? Well, he's going to go where he asked me to go wherever I was headed before, i.e. finishing other missions. I'm going to go try to find Syria up in Garbage, and but meanwhile, for the effect, he has given us a cheap stalker suit and about 5,000 rubles to spend, which is very, very handy for us. That cheap stalker suit is actually not a bad bit of kit. It's not worth selling, but it is worth wearing. It's a significant improvement on our leather coat that we have, and the money is good too. You know, fuck it. So there we go. See you, Sid. And that, my friends, is how S.T.A.L.K.E.R